Hello, my name is Margarita Martinez, and this video is mainly to present what I have learned along the study of this subject. I have to say that it's very interesting. Talking about translation is very important for me, especially because I agree in the good side of the translation. The translation is a good tool for teachers as well as for students. Well, the subject is teaching English through translation. And we have here the 4 chapters which form the complete subject. The first chapter was a brief history of translation, and it's mainly a summary of approaches and the process that the translation has suffered along many stages and during the time. We also covered a very important term, which is translatability. Mainly what can be translated and what cannot be translated. In chapter 2, we have this polemic point, translating or translation. Yes, and this is mainly about the process that it takes to translate. And the models, we have the computational model, social linguistical model, interdisciplinary models, and also the psycholinguistical model, which are models that have helped theorists and teachers to identify tools and things to help students in order to succeed in communicating. Then we have chapter 3, which is teaching translation. And this chapter is very interesting as well as the other ones, because here we focus in the teaching, in the art of teaching translation. Here we focused in the aspect that is not only important that the students have the proficiency in the language or in the target language, but also it's important that they have proficiency in the mother tongue, in their mother tongue, as well as context and culture. And we talk about these cultural aspects and also values and beliefs. Then we have chapter number 4, which is translation as a language teaching tool, which is a marvelous thing that they can see translation as a tool for both students and teachers. And it's very helpful as long as you don't get attached and don't rely that much in translation. It is only a tool and is a special tool for students to help themselves to succeed. Then we have here, I found this amazing infographic. It's called 6 Benefits of Human Translation. And number 1, I want to read it for you. Number 1, it says that human translators will manipulate language in such a way that they mimic the design and purpose of the supplied text. Not unlike the machine. The machine, what will the machine do? We cannot communicate with a machine. The machine has only like that special word and synonyms maybe, but the machine lacks a context. Number two, effective and correct translations need somebody who understands the context of the supply text to detect and appreciate the nuances of each language. Number three, while machine translators will quickly turn the target text from input, the text, the machine doesn't acknowledge to translate idioms or slang. So, which is better, human or machine? And this is to focus also that our students can or should be good translators also. That's what I mean when translation is a tool, a very powerful tool. Number four, machine translators are typically very literal, hence the errors and strange language that is often easily identifiable by a native reader. Five, only humans will perceive and effectively translate the cultural components of a supply text. And number six, the end product for human translation appears less like the results of translation service and a lot like that of a creative document, because we have creativity, we have cultural beliefs, etc. Then we have here the main aspects that I want to mention about the subject and what I have learned and what want to share with you. The role of translation in the ESL and EFL classroom has and will continue to be a hotly debated issue, because many teachers, many colleagues, and linguists assume that translation doesn't belong in the classroom because it doesn't embody making full use of the target language. Nevertheless, from my point of view, translation can be used as an effective medium for developing the learner's communicative competence, especially in adults. As a personal experience in the USA, there are bilingual programs approaches to teach. And I want to talk to you about these approaches. These are models. These bilingual programs follow different language formats. The two most popular are the 50-50 model and the 90-10 model. The 50-50 model incorporates students receiving equal amounts of time of both the target and their native language, whereas the 90-10 model emphasizes time spent on the target language at 90%. So, why cannot be used this in our context, in our classrooms here in Mexico? If they are using them, these models there in the States, why can we not? Because we don't have outside the target language. If we use this, I think that we will be more successful with our students. And I brought to you this new polemic point. Is that bilingual or translation? Who can tell me that? Still, translation is considered as a poor learning strategy when it comes to the communicative language teaching approach, where the best way for the learner to gain aptitude in the target language is to think particularly in that language, an act that can increase proficiency in the target language. But as a conclusion, I think that if not overused, translation turns out to be a powerful tool which bridges the gap between the mother tongue and a foreign language, and thus promotes conscious learning. Now, let me tell you some activities in the ESL classroom that I have used, and they are very reliable. I think that you can really trust these activities. well, the first one is that you can make students translate their favorite songs from the Spanish to the English, and they get amazed when they discover how different they can say the things in another language and how different they sound. Like, I didn't mean to say that, but it sounds really different. Yes, it is. And remember to apply context to that. But I have one more here. It says from a very popular website is FluentU. It's called FluentU, and I have used it because this website has been there for a long time, since like 2008. And I have applied these danger cards. You can use another kind of cards, but these ones are particularly helpful because they are cards or danger situations that appear in any daily basis, like in the mall, in the supermarket, or even outside the school, in the school, like a slippery pavement, a slippery floor, falling objects, speeding cars, cows in the highway, you know, oh, the bombs here, especially in our context, we have a lot of bombs, so we can design those kind of cards. And the procedure is line students along one wall in a single line, the file, and give one student a danger card. And the student wants the first students in line in L1, in language 1. That student must return the same warning, but now in language 2. This is a dangerous situation. So if that student can't warn at once, they go to the end of the line and the next student tries to do it. Yes? If all students fail, then the student with the danger card earns a token or a point, is your choice, and gives the next warning. He has the right to choose the next warning. But if a student correctly gives the warning in language 2, that student earns a token or a point and takes the place of the first warning student. And you can switch the roles for language 1 and language 2 for this activity. It's fun, and they can practice the warnings, which are very important, I repeat, and for their daily lives. And the other one is amazingly helpful because you show them cognates, false friends and true friends, and you can teach them also why they are called false friends or true friends. And the word cognates also, because they are like, well, at least my students are not very familiar with the word cognado or cognate. So, and false friends is catchy, but you have to explain the context of why they are false friends. Yeah, they seem to be helpful, but they aren't. So that's why they are fake or false. Well, in this friendship activity, students will be comparing words. Yeah, it's mainly vocabulary in language 1 and language 2. Learning to identify those that have similar meanings and those that mean something quite different. So this activity won't be useful for all language 1 and language 2 combinations, no, and or grammar, but maybe as it is mentioned, some other languages. But I think that for basic vocabulary, it's amazing. I have used it and it has worked well with my students, especially with vocabulary and at beginner levels. The objective is to identify the false friends and the true friends. Mhm. You need some cards where you write the vocabulary, one set of cards in language 1, one set of cards in language 2. And then you mix all the cards, and they could be like different color cards or but they have to have written the vocabulary that you are targeting. Then you hand out at random all of the cards to your students until you have no more. Mm-hmm. Have students check their cards to see if they have friendly pairs. If not, they have to look for the friendly pairs and to reject the false friends. Then it says now students should present in pairs the newfound friends and identify if they are false or true. And you give an extra point or a token, you know. It's valid to use what you want, even candy, any kind of prize to motivate students. And for more proficient students, I suggest that you can make example of sentences that not only the word, but also sentences. Mm-hmm. And then it says after a period of time, maybe 10 minutes, review any remaining pairs. So do this periodically. Don't stay just looking or staring at them. We have to help the students monitoring as much as we can in order to be a successful activity, not just let them to play as they want to. That's my suggestion. So this is the end of my presentation, and I hope you enjoy it. I wish you the best. Thank you very much for all the knowledge and your time, teacher, that you have had with us, all the patience and yes, the knowledge that you have shared with us. You're a very, very kind teacher and very well prepared. I admire you. Thank you very much and see you soon.